Alright, so guys, I just now saw Yesterday. So, let's talk about that.
John, Paul, George and Ringo, the Beatles. No. Stop it. Yesterday. It's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Well, it's not Coldplay. It's not Fix You.
Do you genuinely not know who the Beatles are?
Genuinely.
Then I'm in a really complicated situation.
So, I just want to say, first of all, thank you guys for tuning into this channel. I am that guy on the motorcycle that reviews movies. And this week, we are going to be talking about Yesterday. I actually watched it yesterday. Now, what is this movie about? Yesterday is about a guy named Jack, singer-songwriter, kind of struggling, kind of down in his luck as far as being an artist. He's not getting anywhere, he's going nowhere fast, and it's just him and his managers and a few of his friends, and he's kind of down in his luck as an artist. And one day, he's riding home from one of his gigs, and he gets hit by a bus. And he wakes up, and nobody knows who the band The Beatles is. And he was just like, you guys sure you guys don't know who the Beatles are? And he's Googling them, and he's just like, okay. So he takes that and uses it to his advantage, and he's just like, all right, I'm going to start doing all the Beatles songs, and I'm going to make them mine. And basically, that is the basic structure of this movie. Guy gets hit by a bus, wakes up into a world where there's no such thing, and there was never the group called the Beatles. The whole time watching this movie, the only word that kept on coming to my mind was, oh, this movie is very refreshing. It's different. It's a different pace from what we've been watching all year. Now, what worked in this movie? I really love the way that they structured this movie. I love the way that it was written. I love the world building that they did. They set rules up and they followed the rules. They didn't try to stray away from the rules. And I really hate that in movies where they have a base set of rules and they just go ahead and just dismiss those rules. I'm looking at you, Endgame. But this movie was actually pretty fun, and I actually really liked it. There's a few characters in this movie that actually had me laughing out loud. What is it? Kate McKinnon, I believe her name was, who played his agent later on. She was hilarious in this movie. His roadie, his best friend, Rocky, was really hilarious in this movie. What else? But basically, like the little side characters. Everybody in this movie was actually pretty fun. Ed Sheeran was in this movie. Now, I didn't know who Ed Sheeran was. I'm not a fan of Ed Sheeran. I don't know his music. And not even just Ed Sheeran. I don't know the Beatles music. I still really enjoyed this movie. Some of the songs that he was singing in the movie, I was like, oh, that kind of sounds familiar. I know what that is. But for me, not being a Beatles fan, not knowing the Beatles catalog, I still happen to really enjoy this movie. There's a few parts in this movie where it's just like, oh man, I really like how you guys did that. Okay, so think of the premise. The premise is, guy wakes up, no more Beatles. So what's he gonna do? I'm gonna start writing all the Beatles songs as mine. Now, I really love how they did it as far as, yeah, he's going to write these songs, but he doesn't really know all the words to the songs. So now he's trying to figure out, okay, how did that song go? And I really love how they depicted that visually, like him trying to figure out and try to remember the songs that he's singing. Because I know a lot of songs. There's a lot of songs that I know, a few artists that I know, but I'm just like, how does that song go again? If you used to really sit down and write it out. So I really like how they did that. I really like how it wasn't just like, oh yeah, he just knows all the songs, and he actually had to work for it, even though it wasn't his. But at the same time, that was pretty cool. Another thing that I really like about this movie was the use of the music. Now, like I said before, I am not a Beatles fan. I don't understand the Beatles. In the sense of the Beatles, me not understanding them, I don't understand the hype behind the Beatles. Maybe it's my generation, maybe it's the type of music I like, but I don't get it. I don't get how, me personally, how the Beatles were supposed to be like the biggest group, and their music is so fantastic, and the songs, to me, it just sounds all the same. And I'm pretty sure everybody would say the same thing for the music I listen to, but I don't know, maybe it's not for me. But even with that being said, I still love the way that they incorporated the music in the movie, and some of the songs I was like, oh, okay, I know that song. I've heard that in a commercial before. Oh, I play that in Rock Band. So it's just like, that was pretty cool. Another thing too about this movie that actually had me, like, this movie is actually pretty funny. Like, I've laughed several times in this movie, and I was not expecting that. I was not expecting this to be like a funny movie. And it was actually pretty funny. Like I said before, Kate McKinnon, she's hilarious in this movie. This is probably one of my favorite characters. Her and his friend who plays Rocky, like, hilarious. And the thing about this movie that I really enjoyed too is just the simple fact that the what if, like, what if there were no X? So for me, I was thinking about it, like, what if I woke up and there was no more Michael Jackson? Like, could I write all the Michael Jackson songs? I don't know. I can't dance like Michael, so maybe Michael Jackson's not the right person to pick. But for me, I was looking at it like maybe Nas. To me, Nas is one of the greatest rappers of all time. So what if I woke up and there was no more Nas? Can I write all the Nas songs? To me, it's kind of different with hip-hop, and I guess the Beatles is rock, or however you want to classify it. Hip-hop is more personal, you know? So it's just like, it's kind of different. If this movie was to speak to me a little bit more, you can't just wake up and just make, you know, Illmatic. Like, Illmatic was personal to Nas, personal to his story. I don't know much about the Beatles, like I said, but I don't know how personal their music is. So you can't really do this with any other genre except like pop, you know what I mean? Or rock, I guess, because it's not really as personal. It doesn't really hit home as far with the music. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. Let me know. Like I said, I know nothing about the Beatles. Another thing that really worked for me was the chemistry between some of the characters. The two main characters, matter of fact, it wasn't forced. It didn't feel too forced. It didn't feel like they didn't belong, or whatever the situation is. It felt organic. The friendship, the chemistry between the friends felt organic. It felt like these people actually knew each other. It felt like, oh, these guys were actually friends. Maybe they're just really good actors. Another thing too, I don't know, I'm just talking about everything that really worked for me, because I really like this movie. I was not expecting it. I would say the only thing that really didn't work for me was maybe Ed Sheeran. I don't know the guy. I don't know his music. I don't know his personality, but he came off a little dry. So I would say that would be the only thing that didn't work for me in this movie. It was Ed Sheeran. I know a lot of people were laughing when he came on screen. And yeah, he's not bad, but it was just like, maybe that's just his personality. He's a little dry. I don't know. Maybe people like that, I guess. You know, there's people out there who like fish tacos, and I don't know. I'm not going to judge them. But as far as what didn't work, I would say just that. But I don't want to say he killed the movie, because he didn't. But he just didn't work for me. Not my cup of tea. But everything else, I would say the plot for this movie, the premise, the characters, how they incorporate. There's certain scenes in this movie, I don't want to say anything, but it's not just the Beatles that he woke up and there's no more. There's certain things in this movie where, it comes to find out that there's also blank that's not existing in this world anymore. And that's actually pretty funny. So it's actually waking up, it's not just the Beatles. And I thought that was hilarious, how they did that. Now, this movie actually made me want to go out and listen to an Ed Sheeran song. Do I know? Maybe I might. But it actually made me want to go out and listen to some of the Beatles albums. And him trying to recreate some of the Beatles photos, shoots, and the different images from the Beatles. I thought that was pretty cool, because I recognized some. I was like, oh, okay, I remember that album cover. I remember that. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So if you guys really love the Beatles, if you guys want a nice, relaxing, refreshing pace, this is what this movie is. This movie is refreshing. And I'm going to say that over and over. From all the movies we've had all year, I'm going to say this movie is one of the most refreshing movies this year. It kind of breaks up the whole action-packed and nonsense that's been coming out, because there's been a lot of crap this year. So I would say this is probably one of the best movies this year. To me, personally. Was it because I wasn't expecting it? Maybe. Is it because it's actually a really good movie? Yes, I believe that as well. So if you guys love the Beatles, if you guys want to see something different, if you guys want to go in, this is a great date night movie. If you guys want to laugh, because it's actually pretty funny. And it has like a nice little romantic twist in there as well. But if I was to rate this movie, like I do in all my movies and all my reviews, this movie would be stuck in 5th gear for me. Yes, 5th gear. I can't believe it. That's one of the highest ratings I've rated since I've been doing this channel. And I'm going to stand by that, because I feel like if you give this movie a chance, if you go in with an open mind saying, hey, I want to watch something fun, because this is very fun, very lighthearted. Yes, it is fictional, but at the same time, it's fictional, but at the same time, it still has heart. It still feels real, and then it makes you feel like, after leaving the theater, like, I wonder what I would do if I was in that situation, or I wonder what artists, or, because I was thinking about it myself, like, what artist would I do? I said Michael Jackson, I said Nas, but really, what artist, or would I even do it at the same time? Would I take somebody else's songs and make them mine? I don't know. Maybe not. Most likely not. But tell me guys what you guys think. And as always, people, this video is brought to you by Chic Riot. Chic Riot. Check out Chic Riot at www.chicriot.com. Until next time, people, love your neighbors, love one another.